and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there everyone, and welcome to this Ascension video update with a special topic or a question request for me today. I actually received a message via email and I wanted to do an extra video, and I wanted to imply just before I go deeper into this topic that if you have a video request and if this is something you really wish for me to address and you feel somehow it relates to an overall energy topic or something you are experiencing, you believe it would be beneficial for the group, because that's what we do here, that's what I do in Ascension Pioneers work, always addressing the group through what is the collective experience of these individuals who are working sometimes, very hard, or sometimes even behind the scenes on just really this integration, and in their own way, each and every one of these souls. So if you have a recommendation or a request, I would really like people to start considering that if you have a special additional request to the videos I already provide, which is a lot, and a lot of information always from me, consider making an energy exchange in that regards as well. So anyway, I want to read you today's question, which I received. The question is, there seems to be a lot of information on YouTube that the event will take place in March. We are now halfway in March, and I'm wondering if this is all just hype. I was wondering what your take is on this, as I trust your opinion. Okay, so first of all, I want to once again explain to all of you guys that I don't really function, as you know, through giving opinions. My work comes through a refined, it's like a deeper insight into the synthesis of what is truly taking place within ourselves on our journey of polarity integration, the world at large as we're moving through this, and always a deep and higher perspective. Okay, so it's very funny. My head is kind of in the spotlight of the light today, so it's like the rest of the room is dark. It's like, hello, I just noticed now. So I wanted to say that when I received this question, I didn't actually know about the event, because it's very hard to do all your own personal work and follow everything and everyone, because I can't. I get distracted. All of us hypersensitive beings, we get easily distracted because we're so interested in multitude of things and realities that are occurring at this planet and at this time. And as you know, I'm very multifaceted myself. I like to address different sides of this whole equation, the divine equation, and which we are all beautiful facets of. But I also need to say that I cannot really share an opinion about if something is not in my direct receiving and it's not in my direct experience. However, yesterday when I received this question, I felt it was important to talk about it, because just as I read the question via my YouTube subscriptions, there was a video called The Event. And I was like, okay, first time I hear it, that's funny, because now everyone apparently, as I read, is talking about it. I work 24/7 constantly in assisting people and providing my own content, and being updated with a lot of things that I feel that I'm shown through spirit are necessary to address at this time. So I felt it was important to talk about this, although I do not have direct receiving knowledge about this, because as you know, I've explained before, for me, Ascension is not an event. There's many events, and events exist always. And again, I made notes that when I was addressing the inner connection, what's really important for us at this time to know, and that's what for me staying aligned with the course means, is what is important for us to know in the now moment about this, about our process. So let's say something penetrates our reality very often, it starts to pierce through. There's obviously something there. So I would not ever discredit anyone who shares any kind of work that they do, however they receive it, because I don't know what they're receiving. I don't know. There's whatever is the reason behind what they're sharing. And to be honest, it's none of my business because we are all sharing the way we need to. So the first thing I need to again address is that there's many levels and facets to how we now operate in the overall ascension process. So if we don't know about certain things, doesn't mean we don't know, because we're shown different things because we function on different degrees of consciousness. That's the first thing. And my guidance has always been showing me that when we're truly aligned with spirit, we always receive in the now. We receive through the level of importance for our physical integration process. So as I've then delved a little deeper, I watched about a few videos just briefly what this is about. Apparently there's knowledge or information shared through many people or clients through quantum healing, hypnotic regression through people, especially one lady, which, sorry, I don't know her name. I really don't. I don't follow this streamline. I really followed only Dolores Cannon, who had quantum healing regression work. For me, she was the bomb. The rest, I don't know. I don't know these younger ones now. I don't know her, who do the follow-up work. So apparently, the event is coming through strongly through many people. As clients, they're reporting it each in their own way. They're always saying they don't know exactly the timeline, but they shared that supposedly they received a certain timeline about it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know and you don't watch like me, newbies, it's supposedly an energy, like a cosmic energy coming and streaming in, and it's supposed to be an energy that saturates the earth, and it happens like this engulfing energy, and we all feel it, and we all feel it at once, and it's supposed to be like an event, not just a gradual continuation process, because we've already entered a certain period of that, like a predecessing energy which we can feel, or apparently we already felt it in September in 2017. I don't know. So this was the main sharing. This is the main teaching about this. So it's supposed to happen this month or in the first quarter of 2018. So this is what I will know. I mean, this is what I know. This is what I will share with you. And I can only share with you what I do know and what I'm personally experiencing myself, because the level of anything we go through, it has to match the vibrational experience we're currently undergoing, that we're being initiated into. And that's where we have to be very careful with information, especially when it's shared through others, even if it's very much the channels you trust or verified information. And they all say, well, everyone's saying the same thing. Well, let's imagine there's a group of people who are holding a group soul connection at a certain level, and then they all tune into that, timelessly. So when you go to a session, of course, they each go in different timelines, time dates for them, but they're all accessing, let's say, they all come to a certain access point of that, which that's why they receive it simultaneously in that level of nowness. And then they tune into that awareness, and then they share it. So it comes through many different venues or channels or people or clients, but it's coming through in a very similar fashion. So that's the whole idea. However, we have to see the difference, and this is the thing I want to talk about first, between indirect and direct way of receiving guidance. Those of us who are spirit guides ourselves, because in my own level of work, I do direct spirit channel mastery. And it's different than people who use some sort of a channel or technique or method to get information from others, like Dolores did. She always said, well, I don't know these things. She said, somehow, we're all a part of that knowing. The moment you receive it, it's a part of you, and that way we do all know it. But she wasn't a direct channel herself, so she said, I'm just a gatherer of this information. So this indirect energy translation, or when you receive it, you literally transcribe it word per word. So what you see is what you get. You receive that, you put it into words, or you share it. So that's the indirect. A direct way of receiving guidance from spirit is when you don't necessarily have to go into channel mode or meditation. How I receive is just like direct knowing. But most of the time, I don't receive in that fashion either, because what's important for me to know and understand will just come through my experience. And that's the way I function. And when I know myself and how I function, I am empowered. I stand in the light of my truth, and I know exactly what is occurring. I know exactly what is happening. And that's why I trust my experience to such a full extent that if I'm not shown something, I know I'm not shown for a reason. But when I tune into something and I see there's a lot of people who are having these experiences, for them it becomes a very huge influence in their reality. So now again, we have to, that's the first thing we need to discern. that's what Spirit wanted me to address when I'm going to have, going to be talking about this topic. The next thing is, how are we being influenced? How is our awareness and our physical, practical, day-to-day life that it comes and flows through this awareness influenced when we consider things such as the event or a certain date or a certain timeline, and people get into this expectation or expectancy mode, right? So when a woman is born is pregnant with a child that's supposed to be born a certain due date, she knows what to expect. She's like, okay, child, let's say approximately 9 months, a little less perhaps or a little more. And sometimes there's a little, things can happen in between. But in general, you're in knowing. And so you can relax and you can let go. And there is a certain type of knowing that I would say is similar to that, which I just gave you an example as a pregnancy. And this is what I'm channeling now, this directly it's a kind of knowing that is already seated and rooted within our soul. So let's say you go into your day-to-day life, you do things, and it's like an automatic random mode. But it's almost like a feeling you're safe, even though you feel a little exposed. Or, sometimes I say certain things that I know would put me up front, confronting many things and people, or even unpleasant energies. But somehow the knowing is I'm safe, I'm protected, it's all well. That's the kind of knowing. So a lot of times when information like that is shared, it can have different effects. And again, it depends on the level of consciousness where people are currently tuning in. For me, it doesn't resonate with this type of information. And whatever the source is coming through is that they always explain it will be the same for everyone. People will be kind of like, the way they explained it in the video I watched, it was just a few minutes, was that people through this wave of energy would just be cleansed of the densities that we still held in our bodies, and would immediately know the truth and recognize the truth, and all that we still have that's not integrated would somehow just dissolve. And that's the kind of information I do not resonate because of the mere fact of the soul experience. So a soul came to learn and apply certain things. If the soul is deprived of this experience through, let's say, something happens and it vacuums something or takes it away from you, you're actually taking away the experience of learning. And a lot of souls came to experience ascension through what we can integrate and do it. So we didn't come here to be, like swept away, or, something is swept off, it's like out of our energy field, just vacuumed, just cleansed. And in many ways, that also is a possibility when we consider the natural law of, what's it called? The law of mercy, when the divine dispensation comes, and suddenly like masses of people can receive some sort of redemption or miraculous healing. But then again, even that miraculous healing would not be there if you yourself would not do the proper energetic work. So when these people who are receiving this information and then sharing it at large, especially in the New Age communities, these people are always saying, I don't know, look, I just received the guidance. I'm just sharing with everyone. I received this through my clients. But then again, it's also important for us to ask, well, what is the consciousness that these clients go to? We all say, well, it's the super consciousness or the higher self. But even our higher selves function, again, at different levels of how much they have actually mastered or refined their energies. Okay, so that's also important for us to know. That aspect of, well, is the certain experience we're having as our ascension journey, can it be taken away from us? And people saying it will be the same for everyone. Well, it can't be the same for everyone. And then let's say some people did all the work, some people did zero work. Now we all have the same experience. So we can all just see clearly and go through this veil and into the new light. So if that for you is a possibility, I just want to say, if people who are tuning into and they want to be redeemed of everything, they're waiting for an event, in terms of becoming a little passive in what they're integrating now, for me, in that kind of sense, that information that's coming through, no matter the source of its origin, how authentic and genuine or not, it's not really empowering because it keeps these people in the waiting mode. So their vibration isn't, being constantly refined already through their, immediate work that has to be addressed in the now, because we're constantly refining energies through the methodology of yoga, which is the accessing, the activating of life force energies, and then raising those energies so we can, become a higher vibratory being. That's an actual spiritual technology that true yoga is. It's a method. It's not just an ideology. So I want to say, I wish to share in this video what I do receive, what I do experience, and the experiences I have are in my body. And this is what I want to say in this video, is an invitation for what do you feel when you think about something as an event? How does it make you feel when you think something like this energy field of rainbow colors and magic coming and just sweeping all of us, or how does it feel when some people say some of them will be taking up ships, sorry. For me, in many ways, it feels kind of like, that sounds good. But when I really tune into it, it's like, it doesn't sound like something I would, consciously create um, in the reality that I choose here in service to the planet as it's already evolving, it's already ascending with all of us divine assistance and intervention. So I can only share what I do experience, what I am shown, and what I receive I can share. So what I received in the telepathic transmission in November, in the beginning of November, I already shared that with you, that in my dream experience, which was very lucid, it was like a telepathic instant conversation. It's like you're having a conversation with your friend, except it's in a direct telepathic transmission. When the beings of light within my light family came, and they addressed me directly, and they said, we were quite hyper recently, now this has to kind of go and hibernate a bit. And I said, what? They said, because you're preparing for what's to come next. And I said, well, what is that? They said, we cannot say. And then they just focused around my back area and my body, and something vibrational was happening, and then I don't remember anymore. So the energy left. So why are these beings who operate within the highest law of integrity and unity consciousness, for me, always saying, we cannot say? And even people in the sessions are saying, well, we can't say the specific time or outline. It's because we're constantly fluctuating within our reality. There's another reason for that. It's because those who directly receive, we don't always consciously know that, because it is kept hidden from the grid online streaming, which is public, which means public to those of the light and those who perhaps have counterpart agendas that are on the contrary to what we're trying to achieve here in our global ascension. So this grid online streaming can be used, in many ways. Like magic can be used for white or dark magic. So the dark agendas can know and then act against these higher plans by infiltrating them, which was happening all the time. They infiltrated a lot of the light agenda plans already. We all know that. So in those regards, why are we still aiming for a certain timeline? Why are we still aiming for a certain date? I do not know, because when you are aware of this, that you are always in this mode, like I gave you this example with the pregnancy, it's like a knowing of the birth. You don't think every day when you wake up, oh, I have 100 days left or something like that. You just know when the time comes, the body is in its mode of, ready to burst open and explode and deliver. So our higher self, which is in the body, for those of you doing the soul embodiment process, it's a fusion, is in such knowing, in such direct alignment, and therefore when you are in this alignment, you don't have to see every video or watch everything to be somehow informed. What I've noticed is that even when I plug out my internet or something, if certain information needs to reach me, it will reach me maybe through another person sharing something or whatever it is, it will always reach me. And that's the important thing for us to know, that when we are constantly in the state of focusing inwardly on where we need to be vibrationally, that which needs to, be aligned somehow externally will reach us, because there's no more separation between the inner and the outer. As you know, I follow a more yogic path, which is, like I said, the inner spiritual technology rather than the expectancy or, like over-aggrandizing certain things and events. Okay, so first thing to ask, like I said, is where is the guidance coming through? Is it direct? Are you receiving that? When you watch a video, is your guidance affirming to something or not? When you read something, same thing. Okay, I always do that. I don't just watch something and say, oh, wow, that's good. I always say, okay, it's a possibility, or it goes from possibility to maybe more and more probability, and then eventually maybe for some people becomes a part of their manifest reality. But again, it has to be felt. It has to be felt through inner resonance of the experience process. So we can all get infatuated by things. but is it something that's our direct experience? Why is this guidance reaching us? Why is it in the now? Okay. I'm going to talk about just the state of neutrality. Try to bear with me. I'm not denying or, affirming. I'm not pro or against anything. I'm just bringing more awareness to this topic. So, how many of us are actually feeling that something is speeding up? It's definitely speeding up. Because when I was shown this 3 months ago, well, it was now over 3 months, they were already preparing me for something happening. But my guidance never said it's an event that you need to prepare for. They simply said for what's coming next. And I said, what is it? They said, we cannot say. Like I said, but I know I always trust the higher self already knows all of this in the body. It's not somewhere up there, it's in the body. But it's like in this, like I said, it's in the state that you're constantly aware, you're pregnant, and you trust the delivery process is a natural thing. You don't need to worry about it every moment of your life. So when this speeding up process began for many of us, we had intense body changes. We were automatically upgraded to new levels of light, which for a lot of us require more patience with our bodies than ever before. I've explained to you my whole process. When a lot of these cosmic rays started to occur, my body started reacting differently to it. Because literally it changes the cells in your body. They start to vibrate differently. They start to communicate with each other differently. Everything starts to change. So as energy is rising up and in a way it's amping up, we will feel different things like symptoms. But I also want to mention something else when I talk about the word symptoms is Patricia Corey. I'm her friend on Facebook. I love her. She's one of my favorite authors. I've explained to you this before, I think. She now also has a new YouTube channel. I shared the link below, okay, for those of you interested, because she's sharing on that YouTube channel the videos she does live on Facebook. And if you're not her friend, you can see those. But they're good. And she made one very good one about Ascension symptoms. And I agreed. And I said, why are we still using the word Ascension symptoms? We should be changing it to Ascension experiences. Symptoms is such a passive word. And she says, well, everyone now is implying I have to feel a certain way to ascend. And a lot of these symptoms are like negative. She said, why, if I'm ascending into a higher refined state, should I feel that? And why would anyone tell me how to feel? So I really advise you to watch that video. Her link, the link to her channel is down below. That's why I'm sharing it, because I highly resonate with that warrior kind of advocate for truth kind of teaching. It's coming from the inner experience rather than just gathering data and information, which can be very important for us to keep as a possibility that can turn into a probability. But let's not get attached to it. That's my message. So the symptoms or the experiences I was feeling in my own body is that I didn't have so much insomnia that maybe I have now. I can be so hyper I can't sleep, or sleep a few hours, and then it gets really intense. There's so many people writing, communicating, people to assist. It's happening big time now. Sometimes I say, how am I even alive? I don't know. I have no power. I have no problem with having intense brain power, constantly activating, being, share this person with that, connect these two people, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of networking besides what I share here. I do my grid work. I do pillar work, with the vortex energies here. But mainly, it's the energy I feel coming through the body. And I have to share, sometimes it's intense. And if I don't get enough sleep, I will feel that brain power, which I can hold at a very high potency with all this multitasking and oriented. I can talk to like 10 people at the same time. And I'm very privileged. I can type really fast. Although I don't like typing that much. I prefer speaking and directly using my voice as essence. But all this amped up energy, what I'm trying to say here is showing up. And what I'm experiencing lately a lot, and this is when I know energy is being channeled through my body, is I get restless leg syndrome. I don't know if a lot of you have that. I don't know a lot of people with this syndrome, but I made quite a research when I didn't know why I had it, even when I was a little girl. I had it all the time. But now that I'm more just grounded into my mission already, I only have it when, intense energy waves come and these cosmic waves. So energy is definitely rising up. There's new symptoms coming, and disrupted sleep patterns, feeling hyper-stimulated or hyperactive even. And I have moments when there's nothing happening and there's just void and or no one's communicating or contacting. I was like, nothing's happening. And those times it's hard for me to relax because I'm used to the hype. And then the wave of hype comes again. It's like riding a wave, and that's my experience. And I can only share my experience. Is the energy amping up? Is something happening? Yes, definitely. What is it? None of us knows. And that's the beauty of it. That's the magic and beauty. Whoever will tell you they know exactly what's going to happen, you know my thoughts on that. So many of us are now increasingly connecting. I've never connected to so many individuals as before. A lot of us are coming together. I also am connecting with many of the other realms of angelic groups, you know, like intense things, you know, being activated within us. We're really activating each other. We're all being activated. Never as much as happening energetically as now, never before. And in connection that we have with each other, never before as now. So light families are coming together, different soul groups. We're supporting each other in our mission work integration for sure. That's amping up as well. Also, one question started to rise here. You know, I shared a lot, sorry, I get a little itchy, about this the dark, the co-ops, you know, all these agendas, harassment, online, gang stalking, people reporting, sharing with me after I shared my video, intense. I never get so many emails as now, beautiful. But a question would be now, is this purposely now happening to distract us because of the so-called event? And the only answer I can give you is yes, possibly, perhaps. Leave it as an option. Everything is a possibility. Now move into the probability you're creating by consciously connecting with the essence that's behind that. That's my invitation for you. Whatever it is, go to the root, go to the essence level. That was my main guidance throughout the last few months, is go through the feminine principle of integrating the feeling level. The feminine principle is the heart-based compassion, intuition, sharing. We're using our voice. That's the main aspect of the feminine principle. But we really have to tune into our hearts and find resonance there. That's the beauty of this process. So we can only experience it, whatever it is. So feeling or fueling power to that, which is the overall increase of light quotient. That's how I call it. It's always increasing our light quotient. And I recently had experience where a few sisters of light came together and my heart just burst open even more. And I felt how when coming together, we're increasing the light quotient just sometimes by talking to each other and connecting, just speaking lovingly to each other. It's just that it's potentialized. And that's maybe one of the aspects that I don't resonate so much in those people who only share information side of it, because it's also blank. I love to share the love part of it, which is what gets us through the process, whatever the process is. It's not the goal. It's not where we're going. It's how we're moving through in conscious awareness, in unity consciousness through divine love. So we can only experience this, and we each have our own experience anyway. Don't you not agree? So it's important finding your resonance. Ground yourself in each moment. What is very important right now, I do have to say this, is grounding ourselves to our elemental body, because the most important thing to prepare for anything, whether it's the event you're creating within yourself as your personal ascension, whether it's something coming outside of us physically, your prepared state is your vibrational attunement. That's not just doing the spiritual work, like moving into spiritual knowledge and awareness. It is the grounding work that you do every day on the planet. Because if we don't tune into the elements, we cannot manifest, we can't create on this planet. We all know that. I've shared with you already a channeling from Cassandra, the Pleiadian group, which always says you cannot manifest on earth without grounding in your bodies. You're really centering yourself, because people who are only in their head spiritually, they can't pull it down through their physical vessels. So the heart, through the heart feeling and finding resonance to the essence level, get to the core, and really bring through the elemental wisdom all the elements. You are in between the core essences, the ether. And now I want to move beyond this experience that we have personally, and I want to move towards the experience of cycles. So cosmic cycles versus events. And I was given one example of the event called the meteorite, right? We have, let's say, a meteorite or something falls. Let's say something like a huge rock falls on the planet. and it falls into the ground, and the moment it touches the ground, we say, oh, that was an event. This object, A, B, Z, whatever, fell on the ground at that day, on Earth Day, this and that, that year. That's an event, right? But that is an event. The moment we perceive it and describe it to this linear time and space, we also forget about everything that took for this to be perceived as an event. Everywhere that it traveled, everything that it gathered with it, all the momentum it was building. We kind of forget about that, right? So I was given this example because events happen daily. Every day you have an event. You wake up every day. Wow, it's an event. I woke up. I'm alive. I'm still alive. Like Sadhguru says, that's your main goal. You're still alive. You're living. Beautiful. Don't forget about that. Remind yourself every day, I'm still alive. What will I do about it now? How am I using my highest light? Because like he says, right, I love this saying, I love this quote, because I was laughing so hard. He said, people think we're immortal. Well, our spirit is. But here on Earth, we're not immortal. We're acting like we have all the time in the world. It's like wasting our time and resources, procrastinating, doing actions that are not really always of the highest integrity. And then we say, well, you know what, I can do anything. He says, if you know you are truly immortal, you would use your time wisely, and every day you would do only that which you truly love and is your highest blessing in each moment, your highest gift. So that's important to know, Okay, so ascension, as I've described it before, is never an event. You might experience part of it as an event. Let's say, each time you birth a new aspect of yourself. I personally birth a new aspect of myself every few months, and I'm new, and that's it. But what is really, really, really important here is that a part of you might experience that as an event. But that's like a tail, right? The tail and the doggy weaves behind him. But it's not actually, like dog circles, right? Around a table chasing its own tail. But it's like the cycles, right? Of that rotation. It's all a coagulation of so many different factors of the experience. So events, like I said, they happen daily, but ascension is a process of integration, and it's a gradual build-up experience of frequency, okay? Eventually, what we might say, well, a certain frequency buildup or light quotient buildup would eventually burst into something. Yes. And let's look at the beautiful example of the cosmic proportion, which is supernova. We will also say supernova is an event. Suddenly, a star bursts and puts all aspects of itself back into the multiverse, creating new streamlines of that informational fusion for new creations, for new aspects of creation to be born. However, that supernova is an event, and also it isn't. So it's both. In a way, it isn't, because everything that led to it, all its life, the life of that star, the planets it was infusing with the light, all the life forms it was infusing with the light, it's all cycles. So even that which we say is an event, truly, we see only a linear fragment of that, which we would say event. And even that, what's co-creating that? Are we the ones who are, with our conscious energy choices, are we the ones deciding that because we're co-creating it? Because with a certain level of frequency, you know how many times people said Earth should already explode by this and this catastrophe should happen, but it didn't, because so many people have awakened, or enough proportion of light quotient has awakened on the planet through these people that we were able to choose another alternate timeline reality. Yes. So what's really driving the whole experience? Be more in the moment. We have to move into the feeling side of life, because information is good, disinformation is not, and we have to find a way to see the difference between information and disinformation. And yet that can only be seen and integrated through the practice of experience. What are we actually experiencing? Because like I said before, we can talk about ascension. Are you experiencing ascension? What is that anyway? Is that an event? You say, oh, today I had a very high vibrational day, I'm ascending. It's like a gradual buildup, and a part of you, a linear part of you, says it's an event. I had a good event about this today. So we each experience the event, whatever it is, where we are at. So the reason why I don't resonate with it will be the same for everyone. The fact of what happens, let's say supernova explodes and it causes a ripple effect. It reaches a certain solar system. Planets will experience it. A lot of influences on our planet where evolutionary cycles were a part of a bigger evolutionary cycle that evolved the evolution of that supernova. You know, there's these constant cyclical connections in the vastness of cosmos of time and space. So again, what is truly the event? And how many cycles of other celestial bodies and reverberations it's actually all together in the mix? It's so much, right? It is so vast. So a few reports from a few people in my own time, you know, being here as a human and experiencing both the spiritual knowledge activation and the physical horizontal human experience of life has brought me to this point of what truly integration is. And to see both the bigger picture, the cosmic view, and the tiny part that says, ooh, as humans, we're going to experience this event. And it's all really important for us. But let us not be fixed on these ideas without bringing our heart into it. Because a lot of people who expect an event forget to feel. And for me, my main focus of this topic, where I'm going to bring it again, is root yourself into your physical heart through your feet on the ground and the earth, because it's not true that the event will be the same experience for everyone, because it would be the most orgasmic, even if something happens, it would be the most orgasmic explosion of life for those who've actually done the work, who are able to process that through their bodies. Otherwise, you just see a speck of light fly by. Oop, I didn't feel anything. You know, so many people, when there's solar flares, they won't feel anything, because it's like they bypass their chakric system. They can't integrate that yet. So they wouldn't have the same experience, okay, so in relation to people who've actually done a lot of life force activation. And I always tell you, if you haven't done the work, if you're just a beginner, you can start simply. Or my course is available, or on Tantric Life Force Mastery, okay? So those who are ascending will have, again, like I say, each their unique experience, whatever happens, if it does happen. Eventually, you know, we are all going to experience a certain event, because there's always events. You know, even Earth one day perhaps does not exist. Even our star will be one day a supernova as well. So from that perspective, there's always going to be events. But what is important for us to now know through the feeling experience of life, what we're receiving directly through our own spirit connection, for me, that's what it's important. So, okay, we've now covered cosmic cycles versus events. And those who serve, that's the main message given here, those who serve the ascending collective, so the guides, the healers, the teachers, the leaders, those who serve will continue to serve. Nothing will change there. You might get a new mission activation. Something will happen more physically for us, because certain veils of what no longer needs to be there would, you know, no longer exist. The systems are going to continue to collapse the same way they're doing now. And if there's certain pushes of that dark coming up that are so strongly using that propaganda at this time when this is so crucially happening, yes, it is a possibility that that's done, you know, for the purpose of that, to distract us, to not focus on the event, whatever it is. But that's happening daily. A lot of people are telling me, I can always feel the energy of the system. I'm trying to do that. And whenever, recently a man shared this with me in a session, he said, whenever I'm trying to do something really important or meet an important person, it feels like something's like pulling me, or it's trying to sabotage me or taking me away from that energy. Sometimes I feel a wave of distraction too. I can get too hyper into all the sharing and details and stuff. Like, I wanted to do this today, but didn't get to do it. Why? Is it a distraction, or is it divine guidance? You tell me. Only the heart will tell you in each moment. You can't see life as black and white. Oh, when this happens, it's always a distraction. No, sometimes it's to align you with a higher course or a better course of action, or something that's more aligned with you in this moment, because you're constantly, as an event, shifting vibrationally, you're jumping. And sometimes we jump to a lower frequency for a reason, because sometimes as volunteer souls, we need to assist others who are still in that density, and we can't reach them from this high above some kind of space people like to imagine themselves to be at. The higher vibration is lived here. And it's like a plug in and out. Whatever is needed in each resourceful moment, that's how life force works. Always moving towards the highest potential of expression in the moment, okay? So, is there anything else? Let's see. Yeah. If you're a beautiful servant to life, you're still going to serve life. Whatever kind of the experience of life will be, let us be surprised. Let us allow magic to always be, okay? Let us not get too technical and ideology-like based and analytical. So why 2018 is important so much? You know, I can only say this from my own experience. is because I've felt it. And people say, no, no, it's 2020. Okay. People said 2012 was important, and it was. Every certain year has, let's say, a special celestial alignment or a special attunement that, again, it's a gradual process. So this year we might say that year is more special than last year because we have this alignment or that celestial event, or because this crystal child or master was born on the planet. Is happening now all the time. But what makes it so special from our like anchored, rooted source perspective is the beautiful experience we have as each sovereign individual. For me, that's the kind of work that I'm doing, to activate the sovereignty and this beautiful divine individuality in people who want to have a real experience with this instead of living it in their minds. And that's what I wanted to address this topic. So for me, 2018 is important because even years back when I started my awakening, I had a life coach. And he told me through, I don't know what was, a Japanese or Chinese astrology. I still don't remember, to be honest. It was some kind of key life number system calculation. I don't know. It was a very complex system. And he tried to explain it to me. I'm like, dude, I don't know this, sorry. And he just said to me, I can calculate and I can see that in 2018, this is where you really start to live your mission, before it's like stepping stones and preparations, and then you really live it. What does that mean for me? I got that information years back. If I lived my life in the, let's take this as an example, yes, if I lived my life in a state of conviction, oh, I'm going to live my mission as an event in 2018, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to party and go out and do nothing, put my feet up in the air. I already lived my mission. I lived it fully. I lived a part of the mission that was required of me specifically, and at that time, I was shown I need to activate a certain light quotient within certain people within the group consciousness, and I was shown that in a dream, and I was seeing how this divine hand through my guidance was pulling up many from this facet of mud and dirt and just bringing and helping them to bring back to the light, which I literally cannot do because no one can. No one is someone else's sovereign or master. We only help to point towards the door that then, as you know, people need to walk through on their own and themselves. And I'm in constant 24/7 period of employment of spirit, and I like to sometimes reminisce of the days when it wasn't yet so, when I had all the freedom to just write automatic writings and be in my activated phase, when I was just gathering and absorbing like a sponge on that spiritual knowledge that was activated through me. And then one day, I don't know when the day was as an event, because it wasn't an event, you see. It was a gradual experience where I can't pinpoint now, looking back, saying, when did I really start my mission? Where did I start offering sessions? When did I do readings? When did I start doing videos? Okay, that I know. But even then, I don't know directly like a day. In truth, it's all so beautifully unfolding, and it's so natural that you can look back and say, this is when it happened. We can't even say, well, in 2012 was when this shift happened, because there was even many events predecessing that, like harmonic convergence in 87. And even before that, right? The whole atomic bomb and many souls as volunteers, starting to incarnate here. There's many different segments of time on Earth, eons of time, and this was happening before in a similar way, but never the same way as now. So time is cyclical, and it's also a spiral. And most importantly, it's a spiral. So for me, 2018 is important because now, even though I was given that guidance years back, I literally feel it. I feel I'm going through immense shifts in the body, in the way that I, feel, in the way that I communicate with people. I'm much more open than I was before, because in my life, I also had a lot of terrible experiences with people as well. Yes, I was sabotaged, I was lied to, I was used when people were nice to me, and then they used that against me. My openness, my pure heart, I experienced every part of the crappy equation of human life, but all that was a part of my spiritual training. And if I didn't live my mission already in the now, and I thought it's coming then, I'll just wait, it wouldn't happen the way it's supposed to happen. Was everything is a stepping stone. And so I can give a date when something was of major importance for me. But I feel now in my own shifting that 2018 is an important year for me, and not just for me, for a lot of us, basically for all of us. Okay, maybe an astrologer, from their perspective, they would say, because this alignment happens. And someone says, well, Saturn is now in Capricorn. It means major devotion and responsibility is going to start happening big time. Someone might say, well, ecological changes are happening. Some of the people are saying, well, mini ice age is coming. That's why. prepare, grab your food, take this, do that, visit your friends, you might never see them again, whatever. But we forget about the experience of life when we focus so much on all that we need to do to be a certain way, to prepare for a certain thing. And just, okay, when did I forget to live and just breathe and have my experience? Okay, so those are the notions that I like to contemplate on. And the reason why I give my content in a different way than majority of the people does is because I also myself contemplate on the things I receive. Even my own inner guidance, I receive it, but then I let it sink in. I let it, like burn inside me for a while. I let it digest. And then I share it with all of you by making lots of notes, okay? Because otherwise I just forget, it's too much. So for me, I know it's important. And I don't need to know why. It's like when you love someone, you don't have a reason, I love you because this and that. You love someone, period. It's you know what you know. It's in your heart. So I remember years back, there was this guidance. I got a star reading from a galactic shaman. And I remember, that's also one example I wish to give you today. She said, well, the sisterhood of the sacred feminine is coming together in your life. And that was, I think, also back in 2010 or 11. She said it's the Pallas Athena connection. I think it's a celestial, it's an asteroid, I don't know. She said this divine sisterhood is coming together, and those who know each other from previous lifetimes, not necessarily on Earth, it doesn't matter. And at that time, it didn't make sense for me. Maybe I thought it did, and then people came who I thought they were those people, but they weren't. And when you get too into, oh, that must be it, and then it's not, and you get disappointed. You forget to live your life because then you're too always like, you're lurking for the next possible opportunity instead of just living life. Let life show you. Once you go through the experience, you always know. That's the basic foundation of life. When you go through the experience, you will know. Beforehand, you don't. Because otherwise, sometimes you will prevent through your own assumptions and the mind getting too active. You will forget to just live through the experience, and you will know what you will know. Because it's something you have to go through as a human. So I remember that. And now, in this part of my life, it totally makes sense because it is absolutely happening in my life right now. The divine sisterhood is coming together. Although that guidance came in, 2010, 2011 timeline, that's happening now. So a lot of the things we do get in advance to prepare us, but a lot of the times not in a way we think they are supposed to prepare us or have a direct knowing. Okay, so that's one thing I really wanted to share because I'm meeting now and connecting, communing with such beautiful souls that I know the connections are not from Earth because it's been a while since I was here back to Atlantis. So I want to say one last thing today because maybe we'll say it's out of topic, but I feel it's important to share because Stephen Hawking, a very important scientist, passed away on 14th of March. It was exactly on P Day, which is P, not like P when you go to the bathroom. It's an international day of the number P. Pi, sorry, we say P in my language. Oh, that's a mistake. Oh, that's why it's such a weird pun intended joke that's not really like that. Pi, okay. And but if I say pie, it sounds like food. That's also doesn't count, it's not good. I'm just gonna say P-I, then it sounds like a PR, like a advertisement for something. No. Anyway, it was a very special day. And when I found out, I was like, what? Because even though I'm not a scientist myself, I do appreciate the work the scientists are doing because it's almost like trying to get proof for what the spiritualists already know, okay? The metaphysical aspect of the whole polarity playing out on this planet. And I remember watching one of the TV shows I really used to like, Big Bang Theory. There was this tidbits of Stephen Hawking appearing with his voice, and it was the funniest aspects of the show for me. I always laughed like crazy because it was so hilarious, and it wasn't done in a way to mock him the way he was. It was just that beautiful play of using that with a lighthearted comedy and using his example and how awesome it is. I remember when when the first part, I remember when he was in it, it's like Sheldon, the main character, he passed out because he realized he made a mistake in his thesis work, and he gave it to Stephen Hawking. He's like, oh my god, I made a boo-boo and I gave it to Stephen Hawking. He passed out. It was funny. And I actually, because of that funny component, when that happened, And I didn't yet know it's a PI day. And as you know, PI it's like a divine number. It's a number of divine symmetry about life. It's, and the funny thing is, in this funny, beautiful approach to life, because I believe death should be celebrated as joyfully and lightly. What happened was I channeled this joke, because he was a man who tried so hard to prove the theory of everything. It's like, give me everything. It's not enough. I don't want partial equations. Give me everything. Just give me the whole thing. That's how he was. And he did it like this. And he proved that, you don't have to have a full body capable of for that. You still have, he was like brain on a stick. I don't mean it in a bad way, because I really respect the man. But it's just, he contradicted so many of our beliefs about the physical body. And for me, that is, each soul has a message. I'm not saying, well, the work of that person is perfect, or that person, they each have their own lessons. But I believe in so many ways he was showing, how the body is not what we think it is, and how we can still operate on so many levels. But then I had this joke in my mind, because he tried so hard. I remember watching a documentary about him just a year ago, and I even got his book. I didn't read it yet, but I said one day I will, and I know I will. And it was this feeling, right, I had. It was like almost like this longing for him to finally complete this before he, passes out of his body, because they were saying he's getting less and less ability in his body. He's getting more and more challenges that he can actually perform. And he had a lot of students, a very demanding environment with students doing this work. And it was so beautiful, because I saw him, like, I got this visual, it's like a spirit joke, I call it like that, like, the laughing Buddha in me. And it was like, what is Stephen Hawking, right? What does he say when he finally exits his body? And he goes like, what? So simple? It's like, oh my God, I was trying so hard to prove all these theories of everything and black holes, and are they really black, or is really like a counterpart white hole that's new spring for new life at the other side? And then we pass out of the body, and it's like, oh, it's just all so simple. Depending, I don't know where you're gonna go, but either way, I'm sorry I'm laughing today. I'm in a really good mood. As you can see, so much has been happening. But I was just using that as an example of how everything in life is truly connected. So a person who does research on the theory of everything leaves his body exactly on the day when we celebrate the number pi, which is literally the divine equation for life and the harmonic proportions of everything. And in many ways, in cosmic language, of numerology or numbers or sacred geometry, patterns for life of perfection. And then that happens. And I just simply had to share this, that the same way we choose our life, we choose our death. And nothing in between is random or an accident. So events, all your life, right? You're born, event. This happens, event. You get married, event. You establish Ascension Pioneers, an event. You close off Ascension Pioneers Facebook page, wow, an event. Everything is celebratory in life. That's how Spirit always shows me things. And the reason why I'm not so much into this will happen and that will happen, because it almost like deprives me of my experience, the experiencing of life in such a natural, organic way. And I like to stay in the moment. So even if what happens is, the way they describe it with shimmering lights, and, and our part of the planet right now, it's a lot of clouds all the time and rain or snow, and we're going to have a mini ice age again now this weekend, and we're going to have cold and winter again on equinox, which is, for me, not how I want it to be, but it is anyway. And I want to say, if someone will see it, there's probably going to be a patch of clear skies somewhere on the planet. I hope to see pictures if something does happen. I don't know. But what I mostly want is for us, whatever it is, whatever we're going to experience in this beautiful planet on Earth, is that we are grounded when something happens, that we know our journey. So even when you leave your body, people think you just automatically go to the light, and oh, this happens, you go to heaven. Why is there so many lurkers then? So many souls that want to be rooted on the planet, and they still have connections to it and with the people, and they don't want to leave in some state for years, decades. So again, we don't always go everywhere because something happens. When people die, they don't all go the same way, same time. It's not the same for everyone. And this is what I want people to start not taking as a overpopulating, popular concept. is just, you will always be towards your highest intention is, towards your highest progression and evolution. And then people say, well, we're going to be in this 5D for a very short time, then go to higher dimensions. It's like, why are we speeding up the process? Who wants to go here? Oh. It's like almost we're trying to deprive ourselves of the experience of being where we need to be in each moment, because our souls know exactly what they want to experience. And the human part is the one that feels through that experience. That's the beauty of our magical divine child self. And then the mind would say, no, but I read this, but this person said that. Why are we still doing that? In this day and age, when our heart pulse is so strong, when you know how much the heart pulse of our planet Earth has expanded, just connect to that. Just be with that daily, and you will feel. And every day, life will be an event for you. And whatever happens is always for the highest good. Wherever you go, you will choose, I hope through your sovereignty and discernment and integrity of the soul, where it is best for you to travel next, whatever it is. And that's why I recently loved so much the beautiful video from Patricia Corey about near-death experiences and her own example. And she wrote something like, she said it like, when I go, I also want to go with these dolphins, because that was one of her experiences in the water and with dolphins. It was beautiful. And these angelic beings. And then I said, you know what? When I go, I want to fly off a mountaintop. I don't know how, but, that's just something that, we have to continually tune into. What would we really love to experience? Whatever it is, It's a magical journey of what your heart would truly love to create. And then find people of resonance who would do anything to help you, because they want somehow, they envision a similar thing. And that's what is bringing us together. Into our connectedness. That's why some people resonate with me and Ascension Pioneers and some people don't, because they don't visualize life the similar way. And people who do, they always resonate for a reason that, I don't know, probably only our souls know. That's magic. That's life. And I greet you in that awareness. And light activation is still on the hold, because I got more guidance about it. It's in 3 parts now, so it's coming. It's coming very soon. A very deep grounded work. I kept doing it for days now, so I'm going to share with you. But somehow this video was a quick popper-upper per the request of someone. And if you do have additional requests, please consider making an energy exchange, because this takes so much preparation. Not just this one I record for an hour and talk to and upload and put on YouTube, but I do research. I watch videos, I read, I communicate. It's like, for the past few days, I'm in constant blah, blah, jibber jabber, and I don't sleep a lot. So sorry for that, guys. It is how it is. Moonshine. Yeah, beautiful new moon coming, and it's in Pisces, and people are saying that's when the event happens. And I say, yeah, possible. We'll see. We're just going to have to see. And I always go to my heart to experience the best possible reality and version of our ascension and our embodied, grounded physical self through divine love. So that's why I say, as always, you already know it, with love, wisdom, and power. And that's what you get when I'm really in a good mood, guys. I love you so much. Take care.